engagement so far is learning about the schools in Afghanistan and Pakistan. We have been moved by Greg Mortenson's story, and we want to do everything we can to support him in his mission to end illiteracy. So to that end, we put flyers all over, and we are very glad that you responded to them and are with us tonight. So I think it's time for you, Sadi, if you come forward and we can welcome you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out on a blustery Minnesota evening. I'm from Chicago, so it's not too terrible for me, though I think we'd all like to see spring here finally. I would like to thank LeeAnne Watkins, director here. Thank you so much for having me. St. Mary's Episcopal Church for arranging this event. Thank you to the Global Outreach Committee, and thank you to your tribal chief. Where is she? Chris Henley. Thank you for putting up all those postcards and flyers and, contacting me. I get a lot of requests to speak, and to be honest with you, I like being the person who's advancing Greg's slideshow. I like being behind the curtains. I don't have the pressure to talk, but Chris Henley's email was, just so warm and friendly, and she really spelled out, I think, the work that your community is doing and the outreach that it's doing, and it just touched me so much. I immediately called her up, and so my thing is I get so many emails on behalf of Greg, I will respond to you immediately or never at all, and I respond immediately. So thank you, Chris. My official title is Outreach Coordinator, and I don't quite think Greg or I really know what it means, because my son asked me one day, he said, "Mom, what does an outreach coordinator do?" Because I'm having a real difficult time explaining that to my 3rd grade class. And I said, well, I help Greg fundraise, I help him do his events, sometimes I travel with him, and of course, because your dad volunteers, it's kind of what Greg calls buy one, get one free. And I was like, and sometimes and he's like, "But Mom, you're also an artist, so you sometimes do paintings." I'm like, "Yeah, I do that." And he's like, "Oh, I really think, honestly, you're not quite sure what you're going to be when you grow up." And I think I kind of agree, so. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, which is why some of my background is English literature and language, and I have a graduate studies, and the first thing that you're taught is thesis, focus, 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 thesis, right? And my speeches are very waffly, so excuse me for that. But there's a lot to encompass, and I would love to have your questions at the end. So I met Greg, and I was writing about him for different newspapers and different blogs, because when I read 3 Cups of Tea, I said, wow, that was initially when very few people knew about Greg. And I really wanted to reach out to the Pakistani community where I'm originally from, and to the American communities, and I was just moved by all the churches and the synagogues and the mosques and the schools and the libraries that supported the work. But I kind of recognized, because the book wasn't doing too well in 2006 and the early parts of 2007, that none of the media had picked up the story. So it wasn't ABC or Dateline or Bill Moyers or USA Today, and New York Times, all of whom have now written about Greg and Central Asia Institute. It was the support of people like you, simply the readers of the book, that orchestrated this amazing community outreach to make 3 Cups of Tea such a huge success. Were you going to advance the slideshow? Yeah. Sorry. We're trying to figure out a signal here because my clicker isn't working today, so I apologize for that. Well, this is better than what Greg does, because I often advance his slideshow, and he'll be gesticulating wildly, and he'll say, "No, that wasn't the signal. I was just talking. Come back, Sadi, on this slide." So, I just want to start off by saying Assalamu alaikum, or peace be with you, which is how people in Pakistan and Afghanistan greet each other. And Greg Mortenson, as most of you know, is a mountaineer turned humanitarian. And I coined this phrase, I think, which was in an essay of mine, that he went from climbing mountains to moving them. Because I feel like he climbed mountains, he was a mountaineer, now he's kind of out of shape, but he's still moving mountains. Well, to be fair, all of us who work for Sadi either get sick, either we become underweight, but Greg and I are the ones who gain weight. So the doctors tell us we need to lose me 20 and him 60, respectively. So excited to have another, that's the signal now, everyone knows. So we're really excited to have another book out in 2009 January, 3 Cups of Tea. The original 3 Cups of Tea, the publisher said to Greg, son, let me tell you something. If you start a book with the first chapter failure, it's going to be a failure. But you know, it's been 161 weeks and the book has been on the New York Times bestseller list for 143 weeks. So we're really excited that it was communities like yourself that made it such a big success. And this is a book which is perfect for junior high, elementary school students to read the story of Greg, and it's compounded by a beautiful little section by Amira Mortenson's Greg's Daughter. Greg's chapter does begin in failure, and we all fail, I think Greg says that he fails when he fails his driving test at 16 and he trashed his family car. Some of us fail by burning cookies. Some of us forget to pick up our kids on time from school. I know I've done that because I was at an event, got a call from the principal's office. So I moved to the US 11 years ago, and much to the amusement of my in-laws, I failed my written driver's test, while at the same time trying to enter into graduate school for post-colonial studies, and they couldn't understand why I failed so much at pursuing my driver's license test. And I still fail somehow at vending machines. So we all fail at something. From Pakistan, what can I say? I don't understand the idea of getting food from a machine. My husband thinks I'm impaired. Can you move on? Thank you. We're really excited to have this other book out. It's called Listen to the Wind, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. By the way, I need to ask you, how many of you have read 3 Cups of Tea? Oh my goodness, so I'm not going to even talk, let's just get to the questions. This is like amazing. I don't think there was a hand that wasn't up. So, like many of you, I read the book, and I was really touched by the essential humanity of Greg. And I felt like his humanity superseded his personal boundaries. And by personal boundaries, I mean, we're often defined by the things that divide us. We're defined by our language, we're defined by our culture, our race, our religion. And I somehow felt after reading 3 Cups of Tea that, like Greg, to coexist peacefully, we have to see beyond the labels and the barriers that divide us, and not let those definitions rule us.